That is right. So now I'm going to start recording. So thank you all for being here for our July meeting. David went ahead and filled some time and was able to let us in on his newest venture. Why don't we start our rapid fire introductions so that way we can see who's with us today. So I'll start with you, Mr. Commander Bilecki. Please let us know if there's any changes that's happened throughout COVID since our last meeting a month ago. So, you know, we'll all just try and keep it as short as possible so that way we can be conscious of everyone's time. Go ahead,
yeah,
Joe.
good morning. Good morning. I'm Commander Joe Bilecki. I'm in charge of all of custody operations with the Sheriff's Department. Things have been challenging. I'll keep it brief. I mean, COVID hit the jails just like it has society. We mitigated it early on and got our population in check. The majority of our positive inmates, this morning there were 22 of them. They are new booking quarantines. Everybody that comes to the jail goes into quarantine for 14 days, and they're tested at day 12. And if they come back negative on day 14, they get transferred into the general population. If they come back positive, they stay isolated for another 14 days and then get retested, and they don't get moved till they become negative. We had a couple glitches. One inmate went to court, and it looks like he might have picked something up there, reinfected some of our healthy population, but that number should be back down to 0 in about 7 days. So everything else has been suspended. You know, we tried to bring visiting back on, public visiting. We had a plan in place, a written plan in place to implement that July 5th. And when the governor decided to go ahead and lock everything back down again in the state, we chose not to have large gatherings outside the jail, which includes visiting. So we're just kind of following the guidance from the state, and as soon as possible, we'll get visiting back in place. Then we're going to start looking at trying to get some of our programs and services back in order as well, because we had suspended everything. It's been trying for the inmates. Inmates have been very cooperative and understanding on the most part, but it's been tough. We've reduced our population, by about 2,000 inmates. Wow. We're hovering around 3,300 right now, and we were at 5,300 back in March. So we'll continue to work with managing the crisis, and hopefully I'll be able to get you folks in jail soon. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you. Just everyone, please keep in mind to keep your mics muted unless you're about to talk, just so we limit the background noise. Forgot to say that at the beginning since I keep having so many technical difficulties, so I appreciate it. Layla, why don't I go to you next? Ali, Dr. Ali.
Oh, good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Rita Ali. I'm an author, and I have a book that's called Triple Jeopardy, because I was sentenced and convicted on the same charges 3 times by the federal government. So I, after getting out of prison, and since I have a doctorate degree and also I'm a life coach, I've been working with people that are trying to make the transition from prison to
Is that frozen just on my side? Okay, either I'm frozen or Dr. Ali's frozen.
I think she's frozen.
The doctor.
Okay, I'm like, am I frozen? Okay, thank you. I'm not crazy. Thank you, Dr. Ali, for sharing. I think we might have an unstable connection. Sometimes that happens. So why don't I go to Hannah with Cell Dogs?
Hi everyone. My name is Hannah Kiss, and I'm here representing Cell Dogs.
and later on I'll have a chance to present about what we do. We're an organization that go into incarceration facilities in Orange County. We bring dogs in, we teach the inmates how to train the dogs, and at the end of the cycle, the dogs go home to adoptive families. And it's my first time, so hello everyone.
Welcome, Hannah. Thank you. I look forward to hearing more about cell dogs later on. The next one I have, it says, what is that? The shatters? Okay, let's see. I'm gonna have Nazi introduce herself.
Hi everyone, it's Rosaria with Human Works, here helping Megan.
She helps me take notes so I don't, because I can't lose my mind anymore. Okay, Lori.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lori Friedman with Revolution Financial Management, and I am a financial coach, and we believe in no individual or family left behind financially. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see, Susan.
Hi, my name is Susan Owens, and I am a previously incarcerated student at Cypress College. I co-founded a club there called From Incarceration to Empowerment or Education. And then we recently were able to start and get funding for a program where we were able to offer gas cards to students, groceries, or emergency gas cards, sorry, and then book vouchers. And then we believe in, the education changing the recidivism rate, and we're willing to help walk anybody through the admissions process or help them navigate picking classes and all of that stuff. And that is at Cypress, the community college level. Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm glad to be here, and thank you guys.
Oh, thank you. Welcome. Derek, VetNet.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Derek Mendes, a job developer with VetNet and Working Wardrobes. I just want to say that we're still very active. We're hosting some webinars this week, a 5-part series, veteran sort of boot camp with interview skills and resume techniques and emotional intelligence, all that funness there. So feel free to reach out. I'll drop my information in the chat if you'd like to connect. But just know VetNet Working Wardrobe still very active and happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Derek. Ms. Kay Colson.
Good morning, everybody. My name, as Megan said, Kay Colson. I represent In Action Family Network. We provide support services to our homeless population through either shelters or people that know where the homeless are. We give backpacks that has hygiene items in it. And I'm here to say, if you know any agency or shelter that could use some backpacks, we are working on them right now, and we should have some available next month to give out.
Awesome.
I'm glad to be here. I have been hitting and missing with some physical therapy from knee surgery a few months ago, but glad to be here this morning.
Awesome. Thank you, Kay.
You're welcome.
Hope you're doing better with your physical therapy.
I'm doing good.
Good. All right. Quan, you want to introduce yourself? And we'll get to your story in a bit afterwards.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. This is my first time here. My name is Quan. I'm the post-release program manager for Defy Ventures. That's a nonprofit that helps men and women with criminal histories to transform their lives through the journey of entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Thank you, Quan. Dominic.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dominic Mexico. I'm with the Orange County Sheriff's Department. I work with Commander Balicki, and I oversee a lot of the different programs that take place in the jail. We also partner with a lot of the agencies on this Zoom call to provide post-custody services immediately for the individuals in custody upon release. So first time here, excited to be here and looking to network with a lot of the different providers in the future.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Dominic. And it's nice to match a name to the face. All right, Ms. Jenilyn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenilyn Santos with Chrysalis. As David gave me a really nice introduction. But if you haven't heard about Chrysalis, I know some of you have mentioned this is your first meeting, but at Chrysalis, our goal is basically to help individuals that may be experiencing barriers to employment by providing one-on-one support. So everything is virtual right now. So our class, well, it was 4 classes. We made it into one really great class. We do practice interviews, resume assistance, and then we also help with other resources such as transportation assistance, if they need one-on-one assistance applying to job applications. Through the pandemic, we've definitely opened that up a lot. We've been able to provide some of our clients, gift cards if they need help with food assistance and things like that, since we aren't able to, have our doors open to supply lunches like we normally would if our doors were open. But if you have any questions about what we do at Chrysalis, I will have my information here as well. I love that Chrysalis, there's 3 of us here today, but it'll usually just be 2, but we always like to bring the Chrysalis family wherever we go. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thanks,
Gentleman makes a good point, just to dovetail off that for those of you that are first timers, hadn't seen all the faces before, the program that Jill will now oversee that I was speaking of is a transitional employment program specifically for people returning to the community or who are justice system impacted to get to work quickly, to establish that foundation of working back in the community and getting that income started to set them on a pathway to long-term employment and self-sufficiency. So that is the basis of the work that we do. It's a program in partnership with Caltrans where folks work out on the highway doing litter cleanup and weed abatement and landscape type work, and they can work for us for a period of time while we help them look for that employment that long-term employment that Jenilyn was mentioning. So that's just a quick overview of specifically what the transitional employment program is at Chrysalis as well. And we have lots of openings for people. That is still in person because it's hard to pick up litter virtually. So that is still happening. We're doing essential work. It helps to make sure that we don't poison our waterways with hazardous materials and waste that gets into the water streams because of highways and waterways that are connected to them. So it's really important essential work that we continue to do. So looking forward to anybody that you might know who would be interested in getting involved in that work at Chrysalis.
Awesome, thank you. Carol?
Morning, everybody. Carol Urey, Returning Home Foundation. We're an information foundation. I have just 2 things to report, and I'll send information over after the meeting. Number 1 is PPIC in California has just put out a report on domestic violence. And in affiliation with 211, we've discovered we've had an increase in Orange County of 16%. So it's important for us to know what's happening out there with folks that are out and things not being reported. The other thing is there is a bill that's still being considered. It's SB 555. It's about increasing ability for people to visit in prison, and I'll send you information on that. And I'm very happy to be here. Good morning.
Thank you, Carol. All right, let's go to Victor.
Hi, hello, everyone. My name is Victor Moreno. I'm the job developer here at the Santa Ana DRC. I am with the Geo Reentry Services. We're a day reporting center. We work for the Department of Parole. So I'm here trying to see if I could branch out to distributing some of my participants. And I know that Chrysalis is here. So I've been referring a couple of people there. So I'm trying to work a little bit closer with Chrysalis employment resources that are available, as well as educational, as some of these parolees are trying to reintegrate back themselves into the community successfully. And with the help of you guys, I think, will be a good opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Shadow? Oh, you might want to unmute yourself.
Good. Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Shadow Doherty. I'm with the Fight Club as well, along with Susan, in the LIFE program that's at Cypress College. I'm an ambassador there, and like Susan was saying, we help those who are coming out of incarceration or who are systemically impacted with to get back into the education system, and we help them with books, food cards, gas cards, and resources. So I'm really hoping to connect with a lot of you today, and thank you for having us.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. Tara? Unmute.
Hi. Hi there. I'm Tara Stottle. I'm also with Fight Club and Life program at Cypress College. Susan and Shadow did a great job on establishing what we do, so I'm going to keep it short. I'm just grateful to be here and spread resources and network. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Denton?
Hello, everybody. Hey, Megan. I'm Denton Knapp from the Trinity Center for Veteran Services. We are currently operating still, but for outreach, we're still intaking new veterans, and we're also have limited emergency fund for critical needs to help with, and that is through Jade Smith at the Trinity Center here. Also, the Orange County Veterans and Military Families Collaborative, and in that stead, helping with our 10 working groups that are still meeting remotely. If you're interested in that, I'll go and post the information, and we'd love to have more membership. For Joe and Dominic, I just sent you 2 personal messages. I reference one of the veterans there at the jail, and Jade Smith will be by tomorrow with some materials. For everybody, we're still offering employment help. With Derek Mendes, we're co-hosting the 5-event webinar for employment. And we still have a veteran employment assistance related program available, VEEP, for any veteran more disabled that can go through that program. We still are, through working Wound Aware Project, capability to do benefits. Right now, only about 3 of the 7 veteran service officers are able to do benefit submission. So we can do that through Wound Aware Project with Susie Thompson. If you need more information, I'll go to our website, and our phone number's on here, and thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Denton. Alexa?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Alexa Rollins. I'm an intern with UC Irvine's Consumer Law Clinic. So the clinic is currently working on finishing an amicus brief in order to eliminate burdensome fines and fees on low-income individuals. So just to give everyone a quick update, we've gotten 51 responses to our survey, but we are still looking to integrate more stories and people's experiences into this amicus brief. So I can go ahead and circulate the survey again today in case anyone knows of individuals who may want to share their experiences with fines and fees. And we'd also ask if you could encourage these people to put down their contact information so we could follow up with them. And also, we're collecting these stories until the end of August. So thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Thank you. Jeff?
Good morning, Jeff Henderson with the Sheriff's Department. I work with Dominic and Commander Blicky, responsible for programs and services for inmate services.
Awesome. Thank you. Kevin?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Mendoza from Hope Builders. And if you don't know who we are or what we do, just to give a quick summary, we provide young adults of ages 18 to 28 to a career in as soon as 4 to 5 months. By doing that, we provide our construction, medical assisting, and information technology. And just to give a little heads up, our IT program is about to start on August 10th. So if you know of anybody that will be interested and would want to do the program, I'm gonna put my information down on the chat box below. But other than that, I'm glad to be here thank you for having me and look forward to the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you. Glad for you to be here in Miguel's stead. Claire?
Hi there, this is Claire Johnson-Raba. I'm a clinical instructor in the Consumer Law Clinic at the University of California, Irvine. And our law students represent people in consumer law matters so people can obtain more economic stability. And one of our policy projects is working with the reentry population and homeless and at-risk folks to get rid of their criminal justice system fines and fees. And so as Alexa mentioned, we've got a story gathering project right now where we would love to hear from your clients about how fines and fees stand in the way as a barrier to getting employment or housing or basically getting your life back on track. So again, we'll circulate that, that survey information. An interesting update in the world of fines and fees is last week, the Orange County Board of Supervisors voted to eliminate collection of all back juvenile fees. So if you've got families that are affected by juvenile system fines and fees, those fees have all been waived. They will not be collected any further. So there are good things afoot policy-wise, and we'd like to get that extended to adult criminal justice system fines and fees as well. And we're working on that, and any ways that your clients might be able to help us tell those stories, that advocacy would be really helpful.
Awesome. Thank you, Claire. Let's see. I know I have someone that called in on their phone. Their phone number ends in 3953.
Hi, it's Randy Wortman with U County Office of Education.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
So yeah, working with Chrysalis in Orange County on the roads program, and just proud to be here.
Thank you for joining us. Let's see, I have a Susan that joined. Susan there. Do you mind introducing?
That's me. I just joined from my computer so I could get into the chat.
Awesome. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I introduced myself.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry. I'm
yeah,
like,
thank you.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Let me make sure I got everyone. I got Tara, yeah. Okay. All right. I think I got everyone so far. Yeah, let me just take one. Yeah, okay. Cool. Thank you. Hopefully next time I have better technical abilities. No more issues. No more links in the emails, just the ID. Okay, so thank you all for being here, and I want to introduce you to Quan if you guys didn't you know, hear him introduce himself. He's our ROI speaker for the month of July. And so actually I met Quan through Vincent Braggs with Concretes. He was one of our speakers back in February. Pre-COVID, the last meeting we had in person, besides doing blended last month. So, you know, the ROI speaker piece is so important when it comes to, you know, recharging our batteries and understanding why we do what we do, because individuals deserve, you know, a chance to turn their life around. And Quan is just a great example of, you know, and every other speaker that we've had that, you know, they are persevering through things, and and now he's giving back too. So Quan, why don't you go ahead and tell your story in your own words so that we can hear it. And I really appreciate you taking the time today to be here.
Okay, sure thing. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. I'll just go off the screen, and if there's other questions, I'll be sure to answer those too. So I grew up in Provo, Utah. My family was the only family there growing up, and we moved out to California when I was 10 years old. My father got diagnosed with leukemia when I was 8. I would have to say growing up in Utah was challenging for me as a young boy because I felt like I didn't fit in. You know, 99% of my peers were all white, and I just remember as a little boy just wishing that me and my family could look normal like the other kids. We moved out here to California, and then my father's condition deteriorated. This was the first time I went to school with Hispanic kids, Black kids, and other Vietnamese kids. Many of the Vietnamese kids, I did not fit in with them because they said that I was whitewashed. So it was like became this place in my life where I never felt like I fit in. My father passes away from leukemia at the age of 13. And by that time, I was just running around on the streets. So yeah, what led you down the path to ending up in the justice system? My first arrest was at the age of 17. From there, it became a series of going in and out, running with the Vietnamese gangs in Orange County. And I went in and out at least, was it 3-4 times on parole violations. I went up to the California Youth Authority. And ultimately in 1999, I shot and killed another man in Hollywood at a Hollywood nightclub named Mendoza. I was tried for the death penalty. I lied at trial. I coached witnesses. I got rid of evidence, and they ultimately found me guilty of second-degree murder. And I was given a 15-year to life sentence. At the time, as many of you probably already know, California was not paroling any lifers. So I thought I was just going to be washed up and dying in prison regardless. And I'm ashamed to say, when I went into prison, I did not have any sense of remorse. It was like, okay, well, you know what? They had it coming. It was my life or theirs. And I just justified it as a gang murder. It wasn't until about 10 or 12 years into my life sentence, you know, several things happened. Like my grandfather passed away, my little niece was born, and I began to ask myself those questions, like, is this what my life is meant to be? I contrasted my life with my father, who during his time on earth impacted a lot of families by helping them. While we were in Utah, I remember as a little boy driving over to like Colorado, Wyoming, and neighboring states where my father would help the refugees that were coming over to the United States get adjusted to their new homeland by helping them with Social Security, helping them file paperwork, helping them do their taxes. And then I thought about my own life. How did I bring so much destruction? How did my dad build so much? And all I did was destroy things. Also at the time, I've always been a bookworm, and I was reading a whole bunch of different books. And you know, one business book led to another, and I just had fascination for business books. But somehow I ended up on a different tangent and got fascinated with books on the saints. Particularly, what resonated with me were saints, because they all left amazing legacies, but each of them were also very flawed human beings at one time or another in their lives. And that's what sparked something in me that told myself, you know what, even if I'm supposed to die here in prison, why can't I also leave a legacy? So I've given some talks on this where it was like one morning on the yard, I was standing by the fence and I asked myself, like, why can't I make myself a better person while I'm here in prison? Like, prison, this place does not have to be punishment. This could be a place where I could remake myself. And realizing that just small, subtle shift in thinking, it made all the difference in the world. The sun was coming up over the hills that morning. I was still at Solano State Prison, and I saw on the individual blades of grass the drops of dew, and up above me in the razor wire, I heard a sparrow chirping. And I tell people it's probably been chirping my whole prison sentence, but I never heard it. But that day, I heard that sparrow chirping, and from that day forth, prison did not seem to be a place of punishment for me. It became a place where I could connect with other human beings. It became a place where I could remake myself, and it became just a place where I could just find who I am as a person and just start dismantling everything about me that was fake up until that point, and then look for a process of like refinement and going back and building on each day to make myself a better person. I got involved with, while inside, I created several groups. We created a victims awareness group. I created a grief and loss group. And in 2015, I went to the parole board, and they fortunately paroled me. They said that they felt I was no longer a threat to society, and I was paroled November of 2015. I was involved with the 5 ventures while I was still inside as what they called an entrepreneur in training. So I continued with the program after I came home. The program has a huge emphasis on entrepreneurship, and like their slogan is transform your hustle. I created my first company 6 months after I came home. It's a commercial cleaning company, and it's still running to this day. I think I have like 11 employees today. The vast majority of them are also formerly incarcerated, but I tell everybody like those are my best workers by far. Let me see. I'm about to be a published author. My book, The Sparrow and the Razor Wire, is going to be coming out September 15th. It's going to be on Amazon. It's going to be on Audible. Yeah, so that's where I am today. And what's keeping me from going back? I think the main thing is just realizing that there's a community out here that does support me, and that I do have a choice in my life, and just my own journey of transforming myself. So if there's other questions, or if you want me to touch on something else, Megan, I'll definitely be willing to share.
Awesome. Thank you, Quan. I love your story. And I know with your book coming out, you were telling me that you, for every copy that someone buys,
Yes.
and they will receive it, right?
Yeah, yes, because my book is written for men that are doing long or life-term sentences. It's funny because while I was still in prison, I found this like inner freedom, like this amazing secret that I tried to share with the guys, and it felt like nobody believed me, or like I was crazy in some way. But the California prison system, when you're a life-term prisoner, you have to go to the parole board, and they issue these things, the parole hearing transcripts. And I started, nobody shared those transcripts with each other like that. And I guess because it contained all the ugly, dark secrets of each of the hearings. And it was never, the men would come back from a hearing and say this happened, but I found later on, most of the time they were not truthful with it. But somehow I got my hands on this man's transcripts. He let me read. He had been to like 7, 8 different hearings, and I got to read it. And I felt why he was not being found suitable. And it had nothing to do with his crime. It had more to do with his own sense of personal responsibility and owning up to his crimes and just his deepest, darkest secrets. So I started coaching him. People thought we were crazy because they said, like, who's Quan to help you go home when he's never even been to the parole board? I ended up coaching another guy, and that guy went to the parole board and was found suitable, and they let him go. And then that began opening the floodgates for men sitting with me. And I knew the men wanted to sit with me because they wanted to go home, which was fine. And I wanted to sit with them because I wanted to basically give them the same freedom that I had already found while in prison, just this sense of liberation and freedom from just the journey of personal responsibility and owning your choices. So that's basically what my book is about. I'm sharing with the men in there, because now what I helped maybe 10, 12 men go home while I was still there during my time at Solano, which is not an insignificant amount. But when I was approached to do the book, it was more, okay, how can you scale this out? How can you scale this and help other men that are doing long or life-term sentences? And so that's why I wrote the book. It's for men in there that are perhaps in some dark places. For every book that's purchased, I will personally purchase one and donate it into prison. So we have a bulk order page up. I think there's several hundred books that have already been bulk ordered because it's not available yet on Amazon. This is only a pre-sale launch. And so I think it was like 220 the last I saw it. So that means I'm also purchasing another 220. So there's going to be 440 men that are going to be receiving my book in prison.
Thank you, Quan.
Mhm.
Does anybody
welcome.
have questions for him? Anyone?
I do.
Go ahead, Susan.
Hi, Quan. Thank you for your story. I was curious on how pivotal or helpful Defy Ventures was to you, and if you could tell us about that.
Sure. Well, Defy Ventures, when they came to the prison, there was early 2015. It felt to me like this is the most perfect program for where I'm at with my journey right now. So like I said, I've always been fascinated with business, and what they said back then, transform your hustle. But then when I got involved with the program, 60 to 70% of the program is actually a lot of character and personal development. It's called the CEO of your new life. And they believe the best CEOs are the ones that have done the most work on themselves. So there's actually a huge component of that inside it. So yeah, I would have to say it's helped a lot.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for Quan? I think he has a really great story. You did a really great job, you know, helping us be a part of your journey. And I'm excited to read your book too, Quan.
Okay.
One question.
I can drop in. Oh, go ahead.
This is Victor Moreno. I'm here with the Santa Ana DRC. I'm sure you probably remember the name. I saw that you were part of our program here back in 2018, 2019, and you're a great success story. They told me that, you know, I was going to be impressed. It definitely motivates my why. To know that there's actually people that are successful. There's actually people that could reintegrate themselves back into the community, be part of the community that is positive and that could help others. And I want to congratulate you, and I want to praise you for all the hard work you do. And you're definitely someone to look up to.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you. I put in my website, so if anybody's interested in joining the mailing list, I could send you out a free chapter of my first book and let you know when the link is available on Amazon for launch week. Yeah, and I also have a link that's live right now for the bulk order. So if you know somebody that may be interested in that, just email me, and then I could give you that link for the bulk orders for the book.
You want to share it with me, Quan? That way I can just put it in the meeting recap too. So if someone,
sure,
it makes it easier. That way other people who weren't necessarily on the meeting today, they can also have that information as well.
Okay.
Cool, thank you. Anyone else have any questions for Quan?
I don't have a question, but I just can't not thank you for sharing and speaking. It just, I think it's such an amazing title that you've chosen for your book, because obviously it seems like the turning point. And I'm moved by how small and what otherwise would seem insignificantly tiny detail in life can make such a profound change and then affect so many, what will seem like hundreds, if not thousands of people's lives that you're going to be able to change. And just speaking to Victor's why, I think that so much who have been in the reentry space or working with folks with just overcoming challenges, it's just such an always helpful reminder that sometimes you may see somebody for a few months or a few years, but then that change happens 12 years later. And you know what, that's a part of all of our journey and a part of, you know, everything that we're doing here collectively. So just thanks for, like, you know, thank you for choosing, to your point, thank you for choosing that of all the things that you could do when you found that freedom, you know, it could have been freedom that you then found to live out, to take for yourself, to finally have for yourself, but you've chosen that freedom to give to other people and honor your father's legacy. And that's just really incredible. So thank you for sharing that today.
Thank you, David. Yeah, I mean, like, I still go back into the prisons all the time, and I just realized, like, that was really what pushed me, like, during the challenging times of even writing the book. I just had to remind myself, you know what, it's not about me. This is about how can I help heal this person's pain in some way or alleviate it, and how can I still make an impact? Like, this is what I wanted to do, and this is how I wanted to help people. So that's what got me through, pushing through to write the book. And now I get to see, hopefully, it start to make some type of impact for the men in there and the women.
You'll be able to help people in ways I can't even dream of and imagine. So I just have tremendous respect and thank you.
Yeah, I think too, I think that the great thing is with your book, like, I'm sure it's going to get passed around, so it's going to affect even more lives than what you think. And the book kind of allows that platform for kind of like that secret change for some people that maybe didn't think that they were ready yet, but it starts a conversation, which I think is really important. So, you know, even though you're going in, you know, to the prison, you're going in, or the jails, you're going in a different way to reach other people that maybe would not necessarily be ready. Right. And so that book kind of allows them that platform to kind of ease into it and to kind of have that subtle moment. And I love that title that you chose for your book too. So
yeah, the title, I didn't have a title until I got about 40% of way into the book, and I go, wait, this is the title to my book. And I just realized, like, when I was doing groups in there, men learn best, in my opinion, or felt most impacted when I shared of my own challenges, my own difficulties, my own vulnerabilities. And that's the way I just wrote the book. It wasn't like a book like, hey, you need to do this to change your life. It was more like, I remember when this happened in my life, and this is what I thought, and it took me down this path. And oh, let me tell you about this and how it happened here. So I shared the spiraling into the darkness, and then how I found my way out, like, one day at a time. And so hopefully, like you said, it will help the ones in there that are stuck in a really dark place. Like, there was my bunkie that I left behind. His name was David, and he had been in prison probably, I know, longer than I had been alive. He had been in prison when I left, 42 years already.
Wow.
And he had not had a write-up for like probably 20, 25, 30 years. So but he still would not face the parole board. He still would not go in there and own his crimes. And I think those were the ones I always felt like he would not sit with me to share with me his transcripts, so I couldn't help him. But I'm hoping my book, if someone like him opens it, he could find like a small spark of hope, and it will be up to him to nurture and build something out for himself. And maybe he could find some freedom, even if he stays in there, to find the freedom in his corner of the world.
Yeah, no, the change in someone has to come from within, but you have to kind of be inspired, and we all get inspired in different ways. And so I think that your book's gonna help change a lot of lives, and more than what you think, and probably a lot of people that some wouldn't expect, I'm sure. So thank you, Quan. So next we're gonna head over to Hannah with Cell Dogs. So let me switch it over. So Hannah, you just let me know when you want me to click next slide.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone again. And as you were going through the introductions, I saw a few names who are already aware of our programs and are big supporters. So thank you for that. And So about cell dogs, for all of you who don't know, what we do is we harness the power of human and animal bond and try to transform lives. We have a very mighty mission. We would like to set a new course for shelter dogs as well as for incarcerated individuals. We're one of a kind. First of all, we're very specific to Orange County and Southern California, and we're not simply a rescue. We also incorporate basic obedience training with the dogs, as well as we prioritize the inmate rehabilitation. Currently, we work with the county jails and also OC probation in Santa Ana. Next slide, please. So what are the problems that we're looking at? One of them is that the Orange County shelter is full and the costs are very high. The shelter currently processes over 30,000 animals a year. About half of those are dogs. Housing and vet expenses are substantial. One dog for one day is nearly $200. The kill rates remain high and successful adoption is not as easy as it seems. Some dogs keep ending up back at the shelter as they are unsocialized and untrained, and people simply don't have the time or the capacity to deal with that. And then our other problem that we're facing is that the county jails and OC probations are often overcrowded, and the incarceration costs fall on the taxpayers. We also have data that depending on which institution, whether it's adults, whether it's women or men, whether it's in the juvenile hall, 50 to 70% of the inmates reoffend within the first year of release. And there's only a few, if any, rehabilitation programs in place. Sometimes they start, sometimes they end, sometimes they run for a little bit, sometimes funding runs out. Cell Dogs is special and grateful to be doing these programs for over 10 years now. And it's also costly to have people in jail. California spends upwards of $81,000 each year to house and care for a single inmate. This is just a little bit below of what we have as the median household income in Orange County at $89,000 a year. So the similarities are in a way striking. It's pricey and it's crowded to have both the animals and the people in the shelters or in the jails or at OC probation. And maybe there's a second chance for everyone, and this is what we're working for. So the next slide, please, for how we try to solve these problems, and this is by providing second chances. So the way we try to do this, we rescue the dogs from the local shelters and then enroll them in basic obedience programs. These programs take place at the correctional facilities and actively involve the inmate trainers. Before the dogs even go into the jail or OC probation, the students or the inmate trainers take part in about a 1 month course where we prepare them for this job. And then the dogs go into their living quarters, stay with them 24/7. And our trainers go in weekly to make sure progress is being made and to make sure that the dogs are getting along, gaining new skills, as well as the young men and women, or the men and women, depending on which place we're talking about, are also learning a lot about themselves and the animals, hopefully new life skills that they may even be able to use when they leave. And then while the dogs are getting their training, this is about 8 to 12 weeks, we hope for adoption success by finding the perfect match. We want to make sure that if we took a dog with medical problems, then we make sure someone adopts them who's able to and wants to take care of that. If we have a young dog or a dog that doesn't like other dogs, or a dog that loves kids, or one that doesn't like kids, we want to make sure that they end up with the perfect family for them, to make sure that these dogs don't get back into the system, let's say. And this time while they are learning gives us time to do that, as well as this turns the dogs into a really well-trained and loving pet, making this very easy. And then another and kind of the last component to this program is that while we're going through this training, some of the dogs display very special aptitude, and those dogs go into advanced training to become certified service dogs. This is a very rare and lucky occasion to find such a dog. It's the needle in the haystack kind of situation, because these are dogs that have sometimes been through a lot. But sometimes we do run into young dogs who love to please, who love to work, and once they are done with their basic obedience training, they go into the special service dog advanced training, and some of them become service dogs for veterans or first responders with PTSD, or people with mobility challenges and issues. We have placed dogs with children with autism. So this is another way where some of the dogs find a second chance, and of course change a life of sometimes a whole family. So the next slide, please. So the impact, we believe that this is a win-win-win program for really everyone involved. UC Irvine was working on a study about recidivism rates, and people who have gone through our programs are on average 40% have a 40% lower chance to reoffend. And we believe this is really good news, and we believe that this is partly due to CellDog's programs. We believe that having the dog in the living quarters simply provides lower stress levels and safer housing units for the youth as well as the adults. It provides people with new life skills and even career options. And of course, the personal side of the stories is always amazing. I mean, we hear from people that sometimes this is the most trust someone has ever put in them. This may have been the first time someone loved them unconditionally, or they loved someone unconditionally. And of course, I encourage you to go to our website and read more about the program, as well as the accounts of the people who have gone through the program or who have adopted dogs from the program. And then as a financial impact, obviously, with lower reoffending rates, we save taxpayer dollars, both in the incarceration facilities as well as at the shelter. Thank you. So, so far, 350 plus dogs have been rescued, and 22 of those became service animals, and their training involved over 500 program trainers. Happy dogs and happy adopters, obviously. I mean, you know, the pictures always speak for themselves. And then with the adopters receiving a trained dog, this is usually successful. Reduced housing and medical costs at the shelter, and life-changing support to the families who adopt the service animals. The next slide, please. Okay, so we are a very small organization running on average around $100,000 a year. So this is a very low funding. Our revenue is made up of private donations only, mostly grants. and of course, 2020 is a really difficult year for us, as well as it is for everyone. Our programs are currently not running because it's just simply not safe to have the programs running in the jails right now. So we are hoping to get back to what we're doing as soon as it is safe. And what we're doing right now is we're still rescuing dogs from the shelter, and our program trainers, so the people who go and teach the inmates on how to train the dogs and keep with them week after week to make sure it happens, they take the dogs home and foster them at home, and we still slowly trying to make sure that some dogs get kind of a new leash on life. But it's slow, and obviously it's missing a very important part, which is the people whose lives could be maybe bettered by this. We run very lean. Most of the money we have is spent on the programs, very little on administration. Because we don't need an office. We go straight from the shelter into the jail. I mean, our cars are our offices, really. And so we I feel we spend our money wisely. But of course, more funding would help us run more programs. So 2020 vision, this obviously has been impacted, but at the beginning of the year, we got permission to start new programs at the women's unit and the housing unit for military veterans at the Theo Lacey facility. And then, of course, March happened, and this remains a vision at this point. Another project we're currently working on, and this is still in place. However, it's another community that's been impacted, assisted living. One of our new projects is placing facility dogs at assisted living facilities across Orange County, and we are working with a few places right now. However, all these places are also currently closed, and placing dogs, facility dogs in places like this also requires a transition period, which is currently not safe to do. But hopefully before the year is over, we'll be able to do that. These places have a population of a few hundred people who could really use it. Okay, so this is Duff. He's our service dog in training, and he is ready to find his match. So if anyone on this call knows someone who might be in need of a service dog and who is willing to make a real commitment, because owning a service dog is it's teamwork, to say the very least, then please send them our way. And Megan obviously has all my contact information, but I will leave my email as well, or you can just go on our website. But and there you can also read accounts from people who are already working with service dogs that were trained by cell dogs. Duffy has been trained to become a dog to work with a veteran with PTSD. He's a young lab. He's super active. He's loving. He can do amazing things. But as with any service dogs, we can only do part of the training without finding his perfect match, because at that point we would have to transition him to help any specific issues that the owner may have or may need help with. So we're actively looking. If you know anyone who falls within that category and is looking for a service dog. Service dogs are very expensive. They could be up to $30,000 to train one. Luckily, we have a donation for Duffy, so most of his training has been covered. So we can offer him at a substantially lower cost. And I think this is it. Last slide is just thank you. There is this on the picture on the right-hand side, you can see one of our working pairs. Gabriel was on tours in Afghanistan, and he's a former Marine. He was struggling with PTSD, and he's been working with Ruby now for over a year. They both couldn't be happier. It's lovely for us to see them work together. And on the left-hand side, you see one of Ruby's trainers, because Ruby, before he became a service dog, also went through the program in Irvine, in the Irvine jail, and graduated in 2018 before he went into his advanced training. And this is it. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I love what your organization is doing, because it truly is helping heal people. And who doesn't love dogs? Huge dog lover, and I know how much comfort a dog can that brings me. So I can only imagine how it can help other people, on both sides.
Absolutely.
Who's incarcerated, or the people that the person that's receiving the dog. My dogs probably aren't as trained as they should be, but I love them anyways.
It's like our own children, right?
Yeah.
We just love them anyways.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Hannah? No. Yes.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to comment on what a wonderful program this is. I was, when I was in federal prison at my last federal prison stay, they had a program there, and I just saw how much joy it brought to the women and reminding them of some semblance of normality, and not just the trainers, but the women throughout the prison, even though we were not supposed to pet the dogs or whatever because they were trying to train them. Just seeing them and just seeing the little puppies wagging their tail, and it was just such a reminder. And I'm a dog lover anyway, but it would just make everyone happy. We would like stop and see and watch the puppies when we were in the recreation area of the facility. I'm talking about outdoors, and it was almost like it was a little parade of them. There were about 4 puppies. So the women, we would just stand around and watch them and look at, oh, look at this one, he can do so-and-so. So I just wanted to compliment you on such a program, because it's so important for people who are incarcerated to have those memories and to be able to be in touch with things that are outside of prison life, to remind them of what we can go back to and what's normal in life. It's a great program. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. We believe the same. And like you say, a bunch of dogs, it's just brings joy even when there isn't any. So we agree.
Thank you. Anybody else have questions for Hannah or comments?
I would like to commend you on the work you're doing, and thank you for the healing that it requires to help change the hearts of people that are incarcerated is hard work. So making that connection between the shelters and then getting yourself inside the jails, it must be take a lot of work. And so I wanted to just thank you for tackling that hurdle to bring this connection and healing.
Thank you. It's a lot of work, but yeah, we believe it's worth it. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, so just to be mindful of everyone's time, it's 11:14, so I have a few more updates that I want to go over before we wrap up. So I'm still trying to herd cats and get some clearance forms submitted to me so that I can send it over to the Sheriff's Department, so that we can, once COVID is no longer with us, we can be able to bring the ROI speaker into the jails. So next thing, Claire or Alexa, I know you, I know you guys said that you're still extending the stories. Was there anything else you wanted to add for the story gathering, for your amicus brief?
I think that just about covers it, just that we'll circulate the survey again, and it's wonderful if folks can leave their contact information so we can follow up and speak with them directly.
Okay, awesome. And is it, like, how much longer?
So the filing, and just to recap, what's going on is there's a case before the California Supreme Court. And if the case is decided in favor of the people who are affected by criminal justice system fines and fees, that means that everyone will have a right to have a determination of whether or not they can pay their fines and fees, and they won't have to pay their criminal justice system fines and fees if they're unable to pay them. So it's a really important thing for allowing people to get their lives back on track. And we know that fines and fees often stand in the way of economic stability. So the filing, the first brief before the California Supreme Court that the people affected are going to file is going to be on August 8th. And so we have another month after that to file our supporting brief. We're filing what's called a friend of the court brief. So it's a supporting brief, and we have another month to do that. So we're collecting stories through the end of August.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so then next, Jennifer Saboda is on vacation, but she wanted me to share some updates that is happening. So if you, they are doing a clothing closet, and so they're going to have some clothing available right now for the women's clothing. They have mainly small and medium, but they really need men's clothing and hangers so that they can provide them to some of the parolees. And so she's asking that they be in good condition and laundered before you donate them. And then also her cell phone's in there. I'll be sharing the PowerPoint as well, just so you guys have that information, but it will also be in the meeting notes. They're partnering with Santa Ana College to help, let's see, and empowering themselves. So they have this going on starting in August. So there's that flyer for you. And then next, for the Prop 47 meeting, I was not able to attend. I had a conflicting meeting. And so I know that they mainly talked about Project Kinship, just from the notes that I did get from some people, was they mainly talked about the Safe Haven program, since they're the primary person on the Prop 47. And so they're just doing COVID-19 screenings, and then they're also trying to follow all the COVID guidelines. So there's only limited people allowed in their office. It's 4 participants at a time. They're still offering a lot of web-based services like groups and things like that. And so I have this flyer here for you. They have the modified hours, they have the skeleton crew. So there's this information for you about their different groups that they have going. So if you don't already have this information, it's here available for you. Also, I know that you know, we have the Prop 20 coming up, and so I have some information about that. I know, Carol, are you still on the call?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hi, do you want to speak more about Prop 20?
No, I'd rather you read it. Prop 47 is kind of a related to a proposition that was passed 5 years ago called Prop 47, and which was based on reducing jail time, and then the extra money that we'd get would be distributed to mental illness and kids at risk and so forth. As of 1920, they had collected $122 million for the Prop 47. But there were, and that's distributed, by the way, 25% to the kids, 65% to substance abuse and mental illness, another 10% to trauma. At the same time, however, during that time, there were certainly some folks in the Sheriff's Department and so forth felt that it needed to be modified. And so you have, both things are at work here. So what I encourage you to do is to actually read the proposition and kind of see what's happening. But I did want you to know about it either way. It is coming up. It will be on the ballot.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol. So it looks like we are running a little early, which is always good. Is there any one that was on the Prop 47 meeting that wanted to share any other notes? I didn't, like I said, I had a conflicting meeting, so I didn't have any anything. No? Any other closing comments that anyone wanted to make before we sign off?
Megan, this is Carol. I have one question. Does Quan want us to buy the book directly from him or from Amazon?
Quan, you want to field that question?
The book could be purchased off my website. I think I'm setting that up, or it could be bought off Amazon, because then probably Amazon for the individual purchases, because then you can leave reviews. I think those would help it a lot too, to help amplify the message. So it doesn't matter though. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have any closing remarks? Anything? No? All right. So hopefully next time I get my whole audio, my whole Zoom thing figured out. Maybe the third time will be the charm. I did record this one. I did get that much right. So our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, August 26th, from same time, 10 to 11:30. You can either come in person. If you're going to come in person, please let me know, so that way I can make sure that I have my office set up for social distancing. I already had it set up just so I can make sure that if anyone did show up in person, that we, are being safe, right? And then otherwise you can join us on Zoom, which is a lot easier because you don't have to get in your car. You can be super comfortable. But at any rate, thank you so much, Hannah, for sharing what Cell Dogs is doing. And then thank you so much, Quan, for telling your story. And I really appreciate everyone taking the time to be here and connect, because at the end of the day, especially during these times, we're all doing things modified because of COVID. And so we don't get to interact how we did pre-COVID. And so continually trying to share resources and introduce each other via this platform makes it, gives us that platform to be able to share, communicate, and at the end of the day, a lot of individuals who are justice impacted, there's some sort of trauma that needs to be healed, and we're all here for that purpose, to help these individuals along their journey and help them be as successful as possible, and that takes a village and us partnering together. So with that, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your week and day.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you. See you next time.
Everyone be safe.
Me too. Stop sharing.